Hello and welcome everyone to another InventRight webinar, Master the Art of Licensing. Over there on the left, you have myself. My name is Andrew Krause. I co-founded InventRight with Stephen Key over 20 years ago, and we've been coaching and mentoring inventors ever since. We've had students of ours in over 65 countries, and we're doing this public series, and we've had some amazing speakers, and tonight is no exception by any means. He's just absolutely amazing as all the other speakers we had. And so, Stephen, I'm going to read kind of a long bio here because Russell is so impressive with what he's done, yet so humble, and I know he's going to share some great information. So I want you guys to know who's talking to you tonight. Okay, so let's rip into his bio here. So James Russell Hornsby, he spent his life cultivating the imagination of children. As one of the foremost inventors in the toy industry, he has been recognized the world over for his creative and innovative designs that inspire wonder as they bring magic to life. His entrepreneurial spirit and passion to improve the lives of others have inspired him to create new products in household, lawn and garden, and medicinal products. However, he is best known for his work in the toy industry, where he has touched the hearts and minds of millions of children around the globe. I wish I could say that. I think I just did that with my 7-year-old daughter, but that's good. It's good enough for me. As CEO and owner of Trendmasters Inc., he built one of the largest privately held toy companies in North America, which was sold to Jakks Pacific in 2001. In 2002, Mr. Hornsby founded Cepia LLC on the premise that a small group of people passionate about their craft could make technology indistinguishable from magic. In 2009, Cepia introduced its toy phenomenon, ZhuZhu Pets. With more than 70 million, yes, you heard it here, 70 million of the popular robotic ZhuZhu Pets sold worldwide, the brand was named Toy of the Year 7 times in 5 countries and has earned the place in Time Magazine's all-time greatest toys list. In 2010, Mr. Hornsby received the Excellence in Toy Design Award from the Chicago Toy and Game Inventor Group, and Ernst & Young named him one of its regional entrepreneurs of the year. He holds numerous patents for his work, and collectively, his business ventures have generated over 4 billion, yes, 4 billion in retail revenue. Russ is going to share his creative process for inventing and licensing toys that spark imagination and wonder. Welcome, Russ.
Hey, Andrew. Thank you very much for having us here today.
Stephen, I'm so excited about this, aren't you?
Well, I am, because it's not just the numbers. Russ is creating magic, and with some of the toys that I've seen, they're magical. They're simple, and you don't quite understand how they're done. There's a magic trick, and hopefully Russ will talk a little bit about that, creating that magic, not only for us adults but for kids as well. Thank you, Russ, for being here tonight.
It's a pleasure.
Russ, you mentioned to me you don't want to just share your success and tips for that, but you also want to share some mistakes you've made, which is fantastic because most people have to make mistakes in order to be successful, I would think, right?
That's a huge part of life. If you're not falling down, you're not trying. And we have this. We're reminded of this every day. I'm 67 years old, and there isn't a day that goes by where I don't fall down. That's just been the process. I mean, Stephen, as we were talking, it's from Trendmasters and then moving into ZhuZhu Pets. We can talk about that for a minute. It was, again, people, the judgmental people outside that were what we call the blockers, the trolls, the guardians of the gate that said, no, go away. And I can tell you, coming from Trendmasters, which was a very large business at the time, and we had a very large machine in the Shiji area. We did a lot of stuff that was way cutting edge for this industry at the time. The people that I had known and loved for years were singing a different song, because it's always about in this industry, it's about if you've got people try to stay in the mainstream, and so many people are spending more time focusing on what somebody else is doing rather than what they need to be doing. So
Russell, tell me a little bit, let's stay on this topic for just a second, because I think most entrepreneurs, most inventors receive a lot of rejection. They receive a lot of no's. How do you get past when someone says no? I mean, does it affect you? Do you work around it? How do you bounce back when everybody's telling you no?
you reach down inside your gut and you say, I'm going to get this done no matter what anybody says. And, you know, I will tell you the story because everybody says, they look at you today after you've had your successes and they go, oh, what do you've been successful and you have your money. And what I tell them was, hey, I know what falling down is about. I know what losing everything is about. I know that when Trendmasters was sold to Jakks Pacific because of the economic crisis, that the Bank of America was not very kind to me. And it was about basically gathering your strength and your inner soul and getting back in there and fighting. And that's what we did. ZhuZhu was a testament to that because I will tell you, I had actually taken a second mortgage on my home so that I could take and help the people along inside of our business. And needless to say, my wife wasn't exactly fond of that idea. And we literally, probably 6 months later, we had sold this project to SC Johnson, which was an electronic trigger sprayer, which we had worked on for 4 years. And we had sold it for, and I'll give you the numbers, an additional cash deposit of $10 million and then a significant royalty that was paid out over a 10-year period. I was able to, you know, repay the bank and to take that money and if you want to say go to the line, I try to believe that what we're doing every day is trying to create simple magic. And when you look at things, and I'll say this to everybody that's listening today, try to think about the things that are in plain sight. You know, for years I did things that were on the edge of the mainstream, but all the answers to everything you're doing are right in front of you. It'll be a part of your life. ZhuZhu was a part of my life. I was living in Shenzhen and I was walking a store. I saw a line from Iwaya. They're that company that makes all those little barking dogs and that are a Japanese company and they make nice stuff. And I had a dear friend with me who was my partner for 5 years. And we spoke to the lady about what was quite good. And she talked about some of the items in there. And I suddenly, it dawned on me that my mother would never let me buy one of the habit trails. And I had a pet hamster, which was eaten by my cat, Su Yen. And I said, you know what? I'm going to take and build a whole world here that's based upon what I've grown up with, which is Mickey Mouse, Steamboat Willie-esque, you know, Stuart Little, and put this world together. And we're going to make it a funny, crazy, zany world. And we're going to make these hamsters as realistic as we possibly can. And we had an incredible team of designers here. And that's what I want to tell you is that you can't do this alone. It's about the team of people around you. And we have, you know, again, we've got the same wonderful group of people. We're all getting older now, so we're trying to get younger blood pumped in here right now. But you know, these people were able to bring these programs to life. We were able to get this character built. I didn't send the first video that we did in the factory, but when we built the first samples, we looked at this thing and we said, this is going to really be a breakout. Now, Stephen, I'm going to answer your question because we thought it was a breakout. Okay. We took the product to the show in Hong Kong. And from the Mirror Tower building where we had suite that was 10,000 square feet, you know, on each floor, we had 3 floors in the building. I went and showed in a hotel room. Actually, it might have been one of the hotel rooms I had stayed in over my many years in Hong Kong. The warehouse was the bathroom. And we sat and we presented this product on basically, you know, little frame tables with a cheesy little white cloth. and I you know, it was a little disheartening, but and I had my friends come in and tell me that, you know, how much they had grown, and just people in Australia and everybody else that just said, hey, Russ, you're all wet. You know, this thing is irregular. It does it what it wants to do. It goes in this wheel. It comes out of the wheel. What's wrong with you? It needs to be random. I said, hey, wait a minute. If you want to buy that toy, you can go buy that toy for about $2.20. It's made by DY Toy. They're over in Taiwan. I suggest you go and buy it. This is the Europeans that were really kind of hounding me at the time. So we didn't get any love there. We came back home. We took it into Walmart. We got a little bit of love. They wrote an order for $1,400,000 order, and Stephen, Toys R Us, didn't even want to write it. The woman ended up buying $100,000 as a courtesy, but in the end, we were left with really nothing. So we had one choice, was basically bring it in. We brought in the goods to Phoenix, Arizona. We convinced Lori Costley at Walmart, who now is gone, and actually a very nice person, and Laura Phillips, who is at the time was the vice president of the group, to give us a test in Phoenix. We went into Phoenix. We set up 56 Walmart stores and 6 TRU stores. So the phone call came in from one of our colleagues that had set the first stores, and the first couple of days they were selling 2 or 3 pieces per store per day, which was really quite really respectful considering we had opened up any television. Now, I want to tell you, I had 56 stores, and we basically took out we had to take a very strategic campaign that covered a swath of states. I spent $86,000 to promote this product, to sell what amounted to a very small amount of goods, but a very small amount of goods in a record blizzard time. We were taking goods, and I actually, you know, I was telling Jack is here literally working in our shipping department, which is inside our design offices right now as we prepare Cats versus Pickles. And I said, you know, I can't tell you the number of times I've done this, Jack, you know, from my businesses where I pack my own product, I've done everything. So I think it's a great learning tool for everybody to understand that, you know, sweeping the floors and cleaning the toilets it's a good thing. It's a great learning lesson. And I think one of the things that we learn about this is that because we understand those values, we pass those values on to other people, and we also extend a helping hand to people to try and to find their path down the road, because it is a troubling road. So after the test, and I'll tell you exactly how this went. You would have thought that you know, we thought we had a huge victory. We were selling, by the way, just so you know this, the item peaked at selling 60 units per store per week. We would put an end cap up in TRU in the morning in 6 stores, and it would be sold down at the end of the day. Now, I remember the guy saying to me at Toys R Us, he said, I introduced myself. I said, hey, I'm Russ. I'm with this little company called Cepia. I never really understood how we got that name, but you know, we're doing these characters, and they were called Go-Go Pets at the time. And you know, we had a lot of trials and tribulations there. I was telling Stephen a little bit about that earlier, because your retailers, you know, and if they're listening, they should hopefully listen to this carefully. The retailers are not loyal to you. They're loyal to their purse, and they're loyal to having stability with their customers or their vendors who are going to ship them goods. And they really say that they want to help you, but they really don't really care about helping you. Who's going to help you is going to be the people like Stephen, who are going to find a good home for you. I had one of your members, DeLeon, who was writing to me last night, Stephen, and he was talking about, I want to basically I've got this, this, and this. And I said, hey, look, you got to have an NDA. And if you don't have a lawyer, you can go to LegalZoom or go to Google and get yourself an NDA. And then, I said, I'll give you some advice, which is the best advice I can give you. Find good people to do business with, because at the end of the day, I love all the patents that I have, but I don't want to litigate patents. I've litigated patents, and it's a disaster, as everybody knows. I mean, claims construction is a nightmare. And I think I've forgotten more now, as I've gotten older. I'm going down memory lane and putting all this stuff back together, and it's been quite an odyssey. But ZhuZhu Pets, by the way, was not easy.
Russ, let's talk about that test for a minute.
Yep.
Before we do that, can we play the ZhuZhu Pets video? So for those people that are not familiar with ZhuZhu Pets?
Yeah, right before we get there, I want to ask one question though. How important is that real test? Because that's everything, isn't it, Russ?
I think the question really is yeah, it really is it. And what you really want to do is it's critical for you as the person that's taking the risk to understand what this is all about.
Okay.
And you really have to go in and you've got to set the market. And the problem today, Stephen, is that a lot of these guys don't want to give you tests. They just because our greatest ally in this industry, Toys R Us, is no longer with us.
Mm-hmm.
So it now reduces you into a field where your greatest ally is going to be Shopify and Amazon.
All right.
So I'm happy to answer any question now from Andrew. Please.
Yeah. So this first group of videos, I think there are 2 ZhuZhu Pet videos and then Glow commercial, 3 different commercials.
Yeah.
So just want to remind you guys, you can't comment during it. Nobody will hear you, but afterwards is fine. Do you want to set this up, Russ, or do you want me to just go ahead and play it and talk about it?
No, just go ahead and play it.
All right, cool. There's going to be a little pause going in and going out, but it'll be there in a second.
What's wrong?
The story begins on a magical shooting star night. A girl from a land not so far away was getting ready for bed like she did every day. Mama, could you please open it a little bit more? Her room began to fill with light. She changed Chloe's colors. It was a breathtaking sight. Shades of pink, blue, yellow, and green. A sight that only true dreamers have seen. Use the wand to light up and change Chloe's colors. Book Baron wand is sold as a set, batteries included.
Wake up, ZhuZhu Pets! ZhuZhu Pets go here and there. ZhuZhu Pets go everywhere. There's a big world to explore and fun through every door. His sweet claws, a hamster wheel. Change their world, it's no big deal. Build it, change it, rearrange it. Mr. Squiggles in his wheels. ZhuZhu Pets are so much fun. They play until the day is done. You will love your ZhuZhu Pets because they're so real without the mess. It's time for bed. You'll love your ZhuZhu Pets because they're so fun without the mess. ZhuZhu Pets hamsters make outrageous sounds and explore on their own. Places and hamsters sold separately. Where will your ZhuZhu zoom?
Kung Zoo. Build your own training ground and create the ultimate Kung Zoo world. Complete the obstacle courses and earn the right to be called a warrior. Choose your armor and test them in the battle arena. One will be victorious. Train, transform, battle. Kung Zoo hamsters, armor and playsets sold separately.
There we are, we're back.
Okay, so I can tell you exactly what you're taking a peek at there. When we sold Trendmasters, we moved in and basically started working on of all things compliance products, which we work with Target to design a line of advanced smart devices that would hold basically your pills, to remind you to take your pills Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Remember, I couldn't do toys. We worked in that business, and then we also worked with SC Johnson to develop. We did lawn and garden product, making the small size units and large size units, and we dealt with Bayer and a lot of the large multinationals. It was a lot of fun, and actually they were very, very nice to deal with, all of them. Then we got into an item that we called glowy, and what we had done is we had put basically an array of LEDs into basically this luminous plush. Now, you'll ask why I showed that. Well, first of all, it was a roadback of success. It was 5 million pieces we sold. But more importantly, it's a thing for everyone to learn from here. This has a bevy of patents around it, but there were other people that years later came out with a different array of LEDs, and they basically tripped the price down. They went out and they were able to establish this and built a very nice family of business. And I think the Dream Pillow you might remember. And then right now you can see it on the shelf every day from Fisher Price. So, and then Cloud B or Cloud D, I think it is, that put light into, and again, LED, RGB light. So we spent, interestingly enough, Stephen, we spent $1,400,000 on the patents. And I would tell you that I would rather have had the $1,400,000 to go into new product. Because at the end of the day, if you're going to litigate these guys, it's going to cost you a fortune to litigate them. If you know the company Color Kinetics, they were based out of Boston. I actually know the guys up there, and I went and took a license from them for the LED technology. They actually ended up selling their business to Philips for about $1.6 billion. That's Philips out of basically the Netherlands. So, and they do all the concurrent LED lighting that is all over the world today when you see buildings. So we use that same simple technology and glowy, and it was a lot of fun. But again, there were people that were stepping around it, and what happened was ZhuZhu started its wave, and we only focused on ZhuZhu. It was very difficult, mind you, because I want to go forward a little bit here in time. We had an issue where, and I can briefly touch on it for everyone because I want everyone to learn from this experience. The test, we were blown away. Remember that I had $1.4 million in orders from Walmart. That was not enough to do what I needed to do. Toys R Us stepped in, and Toys R Us wrote an order for $4 million. Walmart came in and they wrote an order for $4 million. So now we had $8 million. But we had an ongoing issue because I called it originally Go-Go Pets. And I was a little worried. There was a lot of Go-Go Pet product out there from Hasbro and other things, and it was Go-Go my walking, or Trixie my Go-Go Pet or whatever. So we called Alan Hassenfeld, and he said, meet with Brian. So I flew in to see Brian. Brian knew everything about my products. Brian knew everything because all the retailers had told him. And so what I want to tell you is that there's a learning lesson here, which is your information is your information. And when you start seeing that path of success, make sure that you're girded up and you have the right people around you. And one of the things that we have tried to do with people through my career is to steer them in the right direction, because there's lots of people out there. We survived Hasbro doing furry frenzies. We not only survived it, but we crushed it. As I said, with sales of our sales were 1.2 billion. Retail was about $2 billion. We had a licensing section that was working with Activision. Our game was number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4 with Activision, and we used a group here out of Columbia called Black Lantern, which actually did the game work for Activision.
Russ, I have a question.
Sure.
When you said surround yourself with the right people that can protect you, what do you mean by that?
I think you've got to find the right people that are going to really try and extend a hand to you. I mean, life is short, and you want to live a long time. You want to live a long time on your reputation, and that means that after you're gone, you want the people that are around to remember that you're a good person. There's too many people in this particular industry, I believe, that basically that copy other people.
Okay.
They don't seek to, and I think the lack of civility and being humble is really a problem for me, because I see people that are in bitter battles and disputes on LinkedIn, and people that say things about each other publicly about companies, which, you know, it doesn't do the industry any good, and it doesn't do the people that are working in these companies any good. It only sets back people. I think that people have to try and take the high ground, but unfortunately, I'm not sure that they do. And I think my learning lesson was that whether it was Hasbro, whether it was Jakks Pacific, I got calls from everybody. I had, you know, and I'm friendly with Anton. I can tell you, Anton at Trendmasters, and Anton's a funny guy. He calls me on the phone. He says, "Tony doesn't like you." I said, "Who's Tony?" He said, "Tony Robinson from Target." I go, I said, "I'm impressed, Anton." He goes, "Why are you impressed?" I said, "Because normally it takes somebody one time to meet me before they don't like me." You know, I didn't even know who the guy was, but, you know, they're trying to do their thing. They're trying to basically to push their agenda along, and they wanted ZhuZhu Pets, and I don't blame them. But at the end of the day, it turned out to be better for me, because even with Jay Foreman, who you guys know is Basic Fun, his group, which was a capital group, offered me $150 million to sell it out. I passed. We took the path to make the product ourselves and to go the hard road. And in the meantime, you'll see the things that we built from the earnings from ZhuZhu Pets as we continue to go through these films. But it's been a great cause, and we've enjoyed it. We've had, and I want to tell you, there's some lessons to learn here from success. When you hit the Powerball, you know, lock your doors. Okay, which means don't layer on people, which we didn't do. We didn't make that mistake, but beware of people that are bearing gifts. You know, this is like the Trojan horse.
Okay.
Yeah.
Russ, I'm curious, with that type of sales that was coming in, and of course you know some of these retailers, you know, have 60, 90 days before you get paid. How do you float that type of money?
Well, that's a great question, because you when you're dealing from a position of strength, you change the terms. Remember that in every drawer with every retailer, there's 3 or 4 different agreements. Okay. And I can tell you those agreements because I lived through them. Walmart, they'll step up and they'll basically issue letters of credit. Now, the letter of credit is the first issue. Target, they're very easy to deal with. They'll issue a letter of credit. But it's then having the relationship with the factory to get it done. And the fact that I had spent my life in China, many of my friends own factories, so they were more than happy to help me finance this incredible growth, because it was great for them, it was great for us. And with all the volume that was done, these factories grew. I mean, I can tell you today that the factory that builds the bulk of LOL was built by ZhuZhu Pets. And many other large factories were built by ZhuZhu Pets and what it brought for people. But again, you know, this is life, and the meter stops, and you got to go on. You got to keep reigniting and sparking. And remember, finding the right people around you. I can't say this enough. This isn't about me. It's about all the people inside our business. It's and people that know me. It's Laura, and it's Joe and Chris, and just like in your business, Stephen and Andrew, it's all the people that are surround you that make you what you are, and you hopefully help them along, because that's what life's supposed to be about. And I will tell you that success is a great thing. Falling down also is something that's not so great, but we have to do it. And we have to do it because it's going to make us stronger. It's going to make us better at what we do. It's going to make us hone our craft. And I only wish that I had somebody that would have given me this advice years ago, because, you know, when you hit a Powerball, you may think you're invincible, but you certainly are not invincible. And I'm going to show you some things that are coming up here that are incredible products. And by the way, remember, when you set a bar that is generating over 18 months, $700 million years, okay? And, you know, you got a year that's a $500 million year, you got a $700 million year. Your retailers, they're expecting you to cough up the next thing. And, you know, what's that cough going to be? You know, the average toy line is a $20 million, and the average successful toy line does $20 million a year. We've had a plethora of those in the last 8 or 9 years. But the quest for the Grail, it's very, very difficult. And I will tell everybody that's listening today, it's in front of you. It's in plain sight. You just have to open your eyes and look around you. It'll be from a learning lesson, Stephen, from your mother or your father. It'll be something that you struggled on. You realized that you could make it better. With this deal with S.C. Johnson, I was spraying a shower to try and make it clean on a renting place. And I said, I don't want to do this. I need a way to do it electronically so I can dispense a lot of liquid. So out of that hardship, you end up creating something. And I remember the buyer, I had a friend that actually was my buyer at Walmart that came with me in a trip, and he says, what are you doing? He said, I thought these products were already made for you. I said, come on, Fran. You have to start from scratch. You start from a piece of paper. It's a spark. You know, you sit and you buy, that's an easy job. Come on out in the field. Come on out and be an entrepreneur. Go in and have the buyer tell you no. Yeah, it's heartbreak.
Hey, Russell, real quick, because I want to see some of the stuff that you're doing now that's very current. But before we get there, how do you jump from toys to do from packaging? I mean, how does that work? I mean, can you take your creativity and apply it to any industry?
I think we can. Yeah, we've done that. And again, what we do look at is we look at how we can service a need. You know, and again, what I say, Stephen, is that the stuff it's really in plain sight. It's everything you do every day, everything you touch. How can I make something better? Or how can I make something special? Because everything that's around us, and I'll give you an example. I bought something for my daughter. I have a 22-year-old daughter. I'm 67, and I got a 22-month-old daughter. So I bought this Mickey Mouse clock, you know, and it's made by a company that does polyresins. And I looked at this thing and I said, you know, I'm really disappointed with this thing. It's a couple $100. But my point is if you're going to do something, do it well or don't bother. And that's what we've really tried to do. And I will tell you that the only person that cares about that is going to be you and hopefully your customers, because the retailers, I'm not sure they'll appreciate it. They have a different mission than you. Your mission is to place your goods and to sell your goods. Their mission is to try and squeeze as much profit and to drive as much sales as they possibly can. Sometimes those things don't always meet. Sometimes basically product management, brand management becomes critical. And that's where we kind of, you know, have to do things better. If we get another bite at this apple, we have to do it better.
Can we go ahead and play the second set of videos here?
Let's go, because I know we have a lot to.
These are fun.
I'll try to be.
Here we go.
I'll try not to ask any more questions. I'm sorry. We have a lot to do.
The invasion has begun. There are over 100 Dagadar balls you can collect, race, or trade. Feel the power. Each ball has a solid steel core for maximum velocity. Your rules, your game. Tracks, launchers, spinners. You can go to Dagadar.com. Enter the secret code to unlock your ball spirit. Ask a parent first. Dagadar. Each sold separately. the race, and then they become my servants.
Guys, they're already making plans to turn us into slaves or something.
Oh yeah? Doesn't scare me. We're a bunch of gamers, right?
Hey, it looks like the track ahead has some kind of power-up.
I'm on it!
What a move by the newbie! We're covering all your race action here on DGD-TV.
Grabbing a power-up and using it while making a move? Oh, I didn't master that until my second season on the Dagadar Circuit Razor.
I'm coming for you, trickster.
Ooh, I'm so scared.
Okay. Not.
I'm cutting you to shreds, newbie.
Yeah, right. Not happening, frozen face.
I saved that power-up just to beat you.
Quickly, this way.
Oh, bro! You seriously gotta lay off the donuts.
Now what? Robots moving in to tear us up?
Do not fear. The Dagadar spirit chose you, brought you here to Dimension 33, and now I, Sol, the Master Teacher, must train you to defeat the evil Berg.
Big guy, blue face? Yeah, we met him.
You have each been infused with the power of a Dagadar racing avatar. Tom, you become the powerful Bangarang. Xander, you become Jag. And Finn, you become the Scissor Kick Kid.
Yeah? Well, so how come I gotta be this puny little guy?
Ah, power comes in small packages.
Oh, I get laser swords! Yes!
You must use the best of your human selves and your Dagadar energies to beat Berg. If he becomes the Dagadar Racing Champion, he will win control of all of Dimension 33.
I am the mighty Berg! How could 3 new racers beat me?
That's easy. Good moves, good timing, nice teamwork.
I will defeat them, win control of Dimension 33, and then take over Earth. Do you understand?
Hey guys, we're back.
Hey.
I was just a little bit long. I thought we'd jump on back here.
Hey,
That's great.
tell me, Russ, is that a whole commercial? Was that like a Saturday morning show built around your product?
Well, what we did is, and I'll give you the story on this real quickly. This line was one of those lines that's it didn't meet what the expectations that we had, certainly, but we really, I don't think, gave it a full-blown chance. We did about $26 million on this on the rollout, and the idea really came from my daughter struggling, one of my other daughters struggling to keep Thomas on the tracks. So we had thought, gee, it might be nice to create, spheres. And we originally looked at having units that would be self-powered, and these balls would be self-powered, so we didn't have to deal with gravity. But this is my second try in the track business. We had done it at Trendmasters with a line of pullback cars that were kind of based on a special design of high speed with and you guys have probably seen these pullback cars. We filled them with LEDs and great jumps and everything else. And at the end of the day, it was virtually impossible to penetrate. We got the retail space, but we just couldn't get the right lift on this. So
How long ago was this, Russ?
this was probably about 9 or 10 years ago.
Okay.
We did this, and it's a very, very beautiful animation. Again, we invested. You'll see the animation gets better, but this was a webisode that we did, and we built a line of webisodes, and we probably are going to take this product now based upon what we're learning from Cats versus Pickles, and we're going to build, I think, some very unique gaming situations for it that would hopefully get into multiplayer worlds where you can play these games all over the world and race all over the world. But that's something that's going to take some time, and that's another story that hopefully we can come back and revisit. And it's been a great launch. But so that was one of the lines that was a struggle.
Okay.
But again, it's wonderful, and we have all the assets here, and it will make its day again back in court. You know, Stephen, it's not that 26 million was bad, because I remember a very nice person calling me and saying, "Hey, Russ, don't be disappointed. You know, you did better than the average line." But you know, the retailers, they put a lot of pressure on us, and
Okay.
you know, we had to be proactive and remove things to keep it going.
So Russ, this Cats versus Pickles, kind of explain how this came about.
It's actually a really interesting story. We had some young millennial designers that came out of Washington University, and they were buying some of these soft cats over at Barnes and Noble, and we started looking at this stuff, saying there's something here. There's just something here, and we started looking online, and we saw, you know, these cats that were like liquid cats, where they would go into a glass, or they would go into a martini glass, or they go into a box. And we took it to the trade, and the trade goes, they didn't like it. Their attitude was, it's just a beanbag. Well, no, it's not just a beanbag. Because if you tell Ty Warner that, he would say the same thing. The fact is that, again, I say this and I plead with everybody out there, it's something right in front of you. So what it was is we had to find a way to wrap the package. We had great looking designs, but we needed a methodology to talk to the consumer. And one of the things that we had found was this cats versus cucumbers video. Nobody got it. We tried it, we took it, we showed it to the retailers. They didn't get it. They knew about it, but they didn't get it. So we brought it back to the house, and you know, I was telling Laura, it was like 5 o'clock in the morning. I turned on YouTube, and I'm listening to this comedian who had taken a cats versus cucumbers video, and he put voice to it, and it was so funny. I couldn't stop laughing. I mean, you know, my wife said, what are you doing? It's 5 in the morning. I just couldn't stop laughing. So, you know, it was like, how do we shift the paradigm here? And we shifted the paradigm by basically creating these pickles, and we created basically what was the great love quandary of life, which is pickles love cats. Cats just want to be cats. They're cool, they're elusive, and they're very, very chic, but they do not like pickles. And so we started packaging this up, and we started building this concept from literally CG episodes that were done by one of our great friends here, who you'll hopefully see some of his work today. And it's just ballooning for us. Laura's here, and she can speak to the value on it. But I will tell you that the numbers that we're gaining right now, we're 100. Laura, how many days are we now into it?
We're 142 days since we've launched on YouTube, and we're only 25 days since we've been on Shopify. But already we're really at some incredible numbers. We've got over 20 million YouTube views on our YouTube channel, and we have over 90,000 Facebook followers. And those are people who have invited you into their social media stream. So the engagement has been really terrific. I know you're short on time, so maybe you just quickly go over to the end to the cats versus pickles commercial.
Oh, okay, yeah. There we go.
Kind of gave you a line review.
Yeah.
I like them.
We can tell you the customers love them.
Great designs.
This
We'll
the
pass
whole thing's about 3 minutes and 27 seconds. Does that seem right, Russ?
So that's the it's Larry the Pickle as well.
It's
so
probably everything. It's probably a compilation. It's a good way to wrap it all up. It kind of gives
Okay.
you an overview of our business and
Okay.
everything that we've touched. Okay.
Cats versus pickles! Cats are scared of pickles, but pickles just want love. Welcome to the world of cats versus pickles. Silly and soft cats and pickles. Pickles love all the cats. Foodie cats. Meow. Sweet cats. Meow. Scary cats. Meow. Fishy cats. Meow. Cats with glasses. Meow. And cats with class. Cats for school. Meow. All pickles are fools. For cats versus pickles. Cats versus pickles. Each sold separately.
Okay, we're back.
Okay.
Wow.
That's
You
some
know-
crazy fun stuff. My 7-year-old daughter would love that. Oh my God.
There is we've built 150 or 160 shorts like this between 2D animation and 3D animation. And I will tell you, here's a very interesting bit of information. We are having an average of every 36 hours, 1 million views. Subscribers are growing. Remember, it takes time to grow because today's toy world, there is no comment section. So we are looking at this by how fast and it's being picked up by YouTube, and it's just the consumers love it. It's a long story. We gave you a more developed piece, which is Larry, but the pickles struggle all the time. You know, it's like my daughter who's 22 months says, "Pickles fall down, Daddy. Pickles fall down." It's like, you know, the pickles always fall down, and that's the beauty of life, because in the end they do fall down. But guess what? Everything's okay.
So
So,
much
and you can
fun.
see, so kind of where we are right now, and we've launched on Shopify. We'll be up on Amazon shortly. This feels like another ZhuZhu Pet because we have retailers that we have one retailer that really loves it, which is Target. And we have and Amazon loves it. And we have another retailer that doesn't like it, which is Walmart. And this is the same thing. And by the way, the management at Walmart loves it, but you know, this is the kind of thing you go through. You know, hey, can I where do you rate on an MPD? Well, they already know the answer because MPD scores off of them. And if you're not in their store and you're not in Target, you're not rating an MPD. So, and yeah, you can do it with the smalls, but it's a very long journey. We're just fortunate right now that we have a little bit of the muscle to push this stuff through. And what I'm excited about, I'll tell you, is that of the 21 million views we have right now, about 2 million or 3 million are from the UK. And we're expanding this out. We're moving next week into France. We're doing France. We're doing basically Australia. We're doing Japan. So we'll slowly start spreading the entertainment, because what we really want this to become is Tokidoki, some of these lifestyle brands. We want this to be a real mainstay item for kids. And I will tell you, Stephen and Andrew, you got to go to Facebook. And yeah, Laura's just telling me it has a 99% approval rating, and that's unusual, very unusual on the world in social media. And by the way, Laura's been is marketing this and managing this, and she's living the late nights right now. And I love for everybody out there just to take a look at it on Facebook, because it's the heart and soul of everybody inside this little business right now. And it's great because it's great to see the energy from these folks,
You know what's amazing, Russ? It seems like, given all the different ways to market, to reach your customer, like on Facebook and the YouTube, it seems like it's giving you more control of creating that demand. Is that true?
I believe it. I believe that we're going to find as we go forward that Shopify is going to be a huge weapon in the arsenal. And one of the things that we really do know is that Amazon, they're born to run program. If you get inventory, they'll put you right up, and they'll let you swing a baseball bat. You got a little bit of money, you want to gamble. And I think for the other entrepreneurs and inventors out there, Stephen, I would encourage them to go and download Jungle Scout with the extension pack from Google Chrome, and they can go in and they can do research. I mean, I will tell you, just a couple of days ago, I'm looking at things like pimple poppers, and you would think that, what kind of business are they doing? I look at the pimple poppers, and the businesses monthly is huge. It's like, if they're doing that at Amazon, brick and mortar is going to be massive. So there are so many opportunities for everybody today with technology. As much as I don't like some of the social issues, I love the fact that we get an in-depth view of what's happening and how you can ideate and build from your own life.
Russ, do you have time for a few questions from the attendees?
Sure, absolutely.
So this one's a good one for you because you've invented both in toys and outside of toys. So Adam says, what are the main distinctions between the toy industry and the consumer product industry for an inventor that they should be aware of when trying to do a licensing deal? So what differences are you aware with licensing deals with toy and consumer versus consumer products?
I think that you're going to have if you're toy driven and you've got something that's electric, you're going to be able to get I think a bigger downstroke of money. and you'll be able to negotiate, I think, a reasonable royalty. And the royalties, I think that you should be negotiating should be from 7 to 10%.
Wow, that's high.
Yeah, but I think that for those that have it, and again, I think one of the issues is, Stephen and Andrew, is having somebody that can help them craft their presentations is really critical. We've seen a lot of inventors that are very, very nice, but they bring stuff in that it needs a lot of work. And what they want you to do is they want you to do the work. So we welcome outside inventors here. We really do. We need outside inventors. But for the people that are trying to stage to get a bigger earnings package, you need to be more developed. Now, in the case of SC Johnson, so you understand this, we had already built our trigger sprayer ourselves. We had put it into Walmart. We shipped in just to Walmart 500,000 units after a test. And I had a guy named Tim Sullivan call me from SCJ, and he said, hey, you want to get together? And then I had another guy named Don DeGlow call me from Clorox. And what I will tell you is this. These guys are going to be meticulous. They're going to give you a shorter downstroke, but I think they'll give you a long stream. And when I say a long stream, I mean a long stream of earnings. Eventually, they'll try and cap it. But if your product is really unique, and again, it doesn't have to be so unique. It just means that you need to have your program together and your package presented properly. Because you look at the stuff. Hey guys, Mr. Pillow, the guys, having some fun one night, partying. He can't go to sleep. He chops up the pillow because he's mad at it, stuffs it back in, and he's on television every night. And I looked at his sales a couple of days ago, and I said, I've always wanted to be in the pillow business. I think we need to invent some pillows that that will invade your brain and for the aged give them wisdom. But that's the beauty of it.
Could you work on that for me, please?
Absolutely. Yeah, I'll pass it to you right after I've used it. Okay.
Okay.
Russ, we have a whole bunch of questions from people asking if you're open to receiving ideas for licensing, or is that something you do?
Sure, absolutely. And what I would ask everybody to do is to take a look at what we've presented to you, and also to feel free. One of the things I want to say to everybody that's out there, I feel that it's our obligation to try and help everybody along. And not get pushed into somebody that is not going to give you the right kind of guidance, but basically is going to be another door for you to knock on and another door for you to knock on. And sometimes we're going to miss things, but this is a business that, and we didn't even show of Dragons, Fairies, and Wizards to them. I mean, this is a line that I wanted you to see because it's a phenomenal line, Andrew and Stephen, and we invested of Dragons, Fairies, and Wizards. And I want everybody.
Website here? No.
I don't think it'll be there. No, because
yep.
No, not anymore. It was in the. I don't know if Laura sent it in the pack.
Send a link if he wants to send it out to other people later.
Yeah. But because what we do is we take down, we don't keep product on our sites continuously. And actually this thing needs to be refreshed because again, what we're doing as a business today is we're focusing myopically on making our Cats versus Pickles a success. And I'll say this to everybody out there, get behind your item, expand it. Poppy Dolly, nice line, didn't do well. Nuzzy Loves is coming out, the one that's right there. It's a cute line. And it's magical. Rainbow Bets is cute, but as I've said to Jenny, it's like it's just another item that we shouldn't have done. But did you send it to him?
No.
If you could send it to him, I mean, I'd love for him to see it because it'd be great for everybody to take a peek. But we welcome.
Should I just Google it?
No, because I don't think you can get it. But
I think you can. Hang on.
She's going to grab it for you.
Question.
Sure.
You're such a giving individual, and you're so helpful. So, where did that come from? Because I know you talked about building relationships. You talked about finding people that are really going to help you. Where did that come from you? Because I know you know a good friend of mine, Steve Askin. He's the same way. So
Yeah.
did good people just find each other, or tell me what inspired you to be so helpful to others?
I really do ask that question because often I have many people say to me, you know, you've got there's a positive and a negative, Russell. And I said, well, what's the negative? They said, you're too generous. What's the positive? You're too generous. So, you know, listen, what I would love to be able to do is to try and help people out there steer away from the trials and tribulations that I had. You know, we look at this life, and I say this today, you know, and Stephen, I'll tell you all the joys. Okay, you know, I had a jet for 10 years. I just sold it, and the reason why I sold it is because I didn't want the headaches of owning a jet, because every week it was something new. Okay, and I look at life and I say, hey, you know, I'm 67, and my goal right now is to help my kids along and to try and help as many people as I can. Stephen is the same way. Stephen is my life coach. He calls up daily, and he brings such joy, and he works so hard to find the magic. And I, you know, and he's such a historian of the toy industry. But you know, one of the things is, again, I've sort of been more private. Remember, 47 years in Asia doesn't make you easily that accessible, and I've only been home for a couple of years, and I miss home. I really do. And again, I think that what I look at today is that the youth that is out there, and the older people like myself, you know, don't be deterred by anything. Take these conversations and understand that you will feel despair. You will feel, you know, great joy, and you've got it up right now. And I'll tell you this story because this is an incredible story. I would love everybody to see this. You know.
So this video is not in the player, so there's a good chance you won't hear the audio here, but at least you'll be able to see the video. So
okay,
here we go. Okay.
Everybody needs a wand.
Yeah. I'll tell you, this is a great story. We had originally, if at Trendmasters had presented, we had Powerpuff Girls, and we did a great job with it. And George, who was the guy that ran the group, who ended up going to Saks to become president, and invited us in to pitch Harry Potter. And we actually built wands that, you know, looked like, you know, stems of a tree, and we used basically, you know, infrared to move an array of things across the table, and it was magical. Well, that was probably enough, you know, because one of the things that we all love, and I'm assuming everybody's seen Cinderella, we all loved Fairy Godmother with her great magical wand and what she could do with it and all the sparkles. So what, you know, Bonehead here, Mr. Bonehead, me, was trying to do was to try and create a concept where we would have basically this custom-made screen, which was was thin, like a small slice that you could see, and we would run animation, and you could create 100 different spells. And you had a magical fairy and you had a magical dragon, and they would take you on these journeys, and you could electronically move things around a room. But one of the things that happens is, number one, you run your cost up with LCD screens and big high-pick microprocessors. And the second thing you do is you open up your business and you set up Target and TRU, and you end up taking what amounts to about a $7 or $8 million hit on a program like this. And not the product sold, but the problem is that the big guys that were buying it, you know, one of them went out of business, and we were one of the larger guys to get hit with that bankruptcy. And it was okay. I mean, we go on and we fall down and we dust ourselves off and we keep on going. But the product, and my lesson to everyone here is that we already had the idea. It was this plain simplicity of making a wand that could move things around the room, and that's all we needed to do. Instead of adding the magic, we let the children's imagination do that. We make the wand make the things move, and by doing that, then we've achieved what we wanted to do. And we do it at a price point of $20 that is magic, and that's the kind of thing that the consumer can buy into, you know. So this, by the way, was a $60 retail just for the wand. When you added the house was a again another LCD screen. That was a $29 retail. So between the two pieces, you had $90 in the deal to start off with, you know. So that's kind of the story. And by the way, Cats versus Pickles, we're selling 48 packs at $240 a crack. So, and we're selling a lot of units right now. So, you know, it's a great sign for the future. But again, we got to remember to be so humble.
Russ, thank you very much.
It's been a pleasure.
You're truly a magical individual. So, and I don't know how you do it. I don't know how you keep the magic, run a business, get, you know, step over some of the obstacles, keep on going, and still have such a positive energy. You're definitely someone that we all need to look up to. So thank you very much.
Thank you,
Yeah,
Stephen.
Russ, we don't have time to read all the thank yous, but I'm going to read this one that was just kind of fun, and I think it sums everything up. Renee says, I'm 50 years old and I still love toys. I need a grandchild so I have an excuse to buy a stuffed pickle. On the other hand, I may just get one anyway. LOL. I'm loving these creations. So I think Renee summed that up very well. I think we all feel a little bit more like a kid today on this webinar, and it was a blast, and you're very encouraging, and thank you so much for taking your time to educate your fellow inventor.
Thank you. You guys be well. God bless everybody.
Good night, everybody.
Night, everybody.
Good night.